All right, what's up, YouTube? How's it going, guys? We are live. What is up? How's everybody doing? Welcome. It's Thursday. Time for another Q&A session. What's going on? Starting a little late today. I was just doing some house hunting. I'm moving at the end of this month, so I'm in the process of finding a new place right now. Lots of exciting things going on, lots of exciting changes happening in my own practice in the world. You know, it's an exciting time. Things are accelerating. I want to talk a little bit before I get into the Q&A. I want to talk about alchemy. Alchemy is a process of taking a crude material and turning it into, something much better. The metaphor here is turning lead into gold, right? Alchemy is something that can be done in an internal sense, in that we take some of our raw, emotions, some potentially more dense energies, and transform these things into something that we can actually use, right? And this is very much appropriate in sexual kung fu, because in sexual kung fu, we are practicing internal alchemy of our sexual energy. Sexual energy is this raw, pure substance, this pure desire, it's pure potential, really, this pure creative energy. But most people only experience the most lowest expressions of this, sexual energy, when the potential for working with this energy is immense. It's massive, right? So what is your relationship with your sexual energy? What does it look like, right? For most people, it's simply trying to scratch an itch. For men, it's like this urge arises, that sexual arousal, that desire to release that energy from their body, right? And that's the only expression of sexual energy, is sending it out of their body. But when you practice sexual kung fu, you learn to refine this energy. So taking this raw semen energy and transforming it in the body by circulating it through the body, by bringing it to the different energy centers, meditating, doing certain practices, you start to refine that energy. Now it turns into something a bit more usable. You turn this raw sexual fluid, you refine, you extract the essence of it, turn it into chi, turn it into life force, and then circulate that through your body, changing the form of it. And now you have this fuel for your growth, for your spiritual development, to attract abundance into your life, to manifest what you want in your life. So this is the principle of internal alchemy in sexual kung fu, is again, we're taking something a little bit raw and crude, and we're refining it, transmuting it into something that truly serves us. And of course, this happens in a relationship as well. These two forces meet, yin yang, male and female, whatever partners are involved in the relationship, they come together, they alchemize to create a third force, right? Which normally in physical sex is, they create a baby, but you can create something else, not just a physical baby. You can create, by merging your yin yang energy together, it combines and creates this powerful neutral force, which you can then manifest with. So you can start to create, obviously, an amazing relationship together, but you can create better health, more abundance in your life, more joy, better health, better freedom and causality, your ability to create as you want. Here's the truth. We are infinitely powerful beings. There is no limit to what we can do, right? We've been conditioned to believe that we're these helpless monkeys and that we need someone else to tell us what to do, someone else to take care of us, right? But that is a control system. So know that whenever someone is telling you that there's something wrong with you, that you are a very low, vulnerable, unable person, right? And they're like, no, you have to let me do this for you. You have to let me tell you what to do. You have to let me tell you what you can do and what you can't do. This is a contracted pattern that is holding your expression. This is a dark force. So know that you are an infinitely powerful being. There's absolutely nothing you can't do. And those who wish to take away your freedom, your personal choice, they do not have your best interests. So I don't know. That's what I feel like sharing today, guys. But anyways, we're going to get into some Q&A here. So feel free to send your questions. Hey, what's up, Three Eyelids? Can your course help with mental breakdowns, mental disorders, stress, and anxiety? Yes, definitely, because this is a large part of the focus of my 12-week course, Multi-Orgasmic Man, is before we go in and start working with sexual energy, it's really important to balance and harmonize the mind, the body, the spirit, right? Because when you begin sexual cultivation without addressing these things, then you can amplify negative patterns, right? you're throwing gasoline on the fire, which can be a problem. But so in the first, few weeks of the course, teach all these practices for clearing negative emotions from the body, practices to purge the energy of your body, open up channels, so you have a direct, healthy flow of life force through your body. This is what causes so many issues, emotional imbalances, diseases, is your energy channels are blocked up. You have blockages, things are not flowing smoothly. So when you work with certain practices to open the channels, so to speak, first of all, there's a bit of a detox process where your old patterns, old emotions, you start to feel them again because they're being released, but then you can start to process them and release them from your body. And after that detox is over, you start to feel great. You have more energy, you have more space in your body. You have less, mental talk, limiting beliefs, anxieties, stresses. So yeah, this is a big part of the course, is clearing these patterns from your body, anxiety, depression, stress that are not serving you. Because to be a sexual kung fu master, you must be a balanced person with full control of your mind. So it's definitely a huge part of the course. Antonio, what's up? Okay, there's a question. Do you think there are more benefits from enjoying your sexual energy and transmuting it while masturbating without ejaculation versus no fat? Okay, basically, so is it more beneficial to, I'm not exactly sure the phrasing of this, but basically, is it more beneficial to, if you're practicing semen retention, to never touch yourself, never have, sexual pleasure, or is it better to cultivate that sexual energy, self-pleasure, self-cultivation, right? In my experience, the suppression route is not for me. Okay, we're just not going to engage in sex, no sexual pleasure, can't touch myself, can't touch that, can't do it, right? It's not a very sustainable path. This is a pleasure negative path, right? Because when I got into this work, it wasn't because I was trying to practice semen retention. It's because I wanted to learn how to have orgasms without ejaculating. And I learned how to do that. And because of that, it changed my relationship to ejaculation to the point where it was like, oh, I actually don't feel very good after ejaculating. I think I'm going to stop doing that, or at least do it much less, right? And the benefits of engaging in sexual activity when you're practicing retention, whether it's by yourself or with a partner, orgasm is extremely beneficial for us. We need orgasm. Our cells multiply. It's a sexual process. Our cells are, having sex 24/7, we could say. That's an orgasm that's occurring 24/7 in our bodies. If you're not getting in resonance with that, if you're not experiencing sex, orgasm, whether yourself or with a partner, then you start to age. The cells do not multiply as efficiently. Hormones start to decline in the body. Before you know it, you're aging. It's a use it or lose it situation. When you engage in sexual pleasure, you are releasing youthful hormones into your body. During sexual stimulation, men, their testosterone levels boost, all these other hormones are released, right? But the key here is not to ejaculate at the end, right? So separating ejaculation from your sexual experience, you get all this powerful energy generated from sexual arousal, and you learn to circulate that through your body, create all these hormones and store those in your body instead of losing it with ejaculation. So in my opinion, this is, extremely beneficial. So yeah. Thoughts on cannabis? Firegate, what's up? Okay, so the question is, what are my thoughts on cannabis? He's saying, or you're saying, I find it lowers my vibration. Cannabis, any psychoactive substance, right? Plant medicines, whatever, they can help you, but they can also hinder you. It's all about your relationship to it. If you're having cannabis every day, it's probably not going to serve you. I used to smoke weed every day for years, right? And, I liked it because it got me high. Obviously, it changed my perspective. It helped me connect with nature. And I thought it helped my creativity, my spiritual path. But what I found when I quit smoking cannabis was that it was giving me a lot of brain fog. It was making me very lazy, basically, right? And I had actually a lot more clarity, a lot more spiritual connection when I stopped having cannabis, at least regularly, right? So it really comes down to, how does it make you feel? And this requires having a strong mind-body connection, being sensitive to how your body affects you. When I started practicing meditation and Qigong, I started becoming extremely sensitive to what I was putting in my body, how it affected me. And this is why I completely stopped drinking alcohol. I haven't touched alcohol in like 7 years. It's nasty. Other things, cannabis can be beneficial for people, but again, if it's every day, it's probably not serving you, right? And it comes down to your tension. Like, I'm not a fanatic. I'm not perfect. I believe, everything in moderation, right? But if you find that it's throwing you off, obviously it's not serving you, right? Cannabis can throw off your hormones. It can, disrupt your androgen receptors if you're having it every day. But if it's like once in a while, it's probably fine. So, it really comes down to you and what serves you, Don't ever let anyone else tell you, that includes me, like what is right or wrong for you. You have to discover this yourself. You're always going to find conflicting information. So you have to be your own guide, listen to your heart, follow your intuition, listen to your body. You'll always be on the right path. Ballisticor says, got some orgonite and my urges completely stopped. Awesome. I love orgonite. I got this pyramid. It's orgonite pyramid I made right here. I'm guessing that for everyone, it's not going to be an instant, fix like that, but it's great. Glad it was helpful for you. Okay. Olef Tryhard. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. Olef says, I have a question. I don't know why, but my life just feels empty, like nothing makes me happy or anything, just been feeling dull and empty. Do you have any advice for me? Sounds like you need a vision quest. You need, to step into your purpose. You need to find out, what are you here to do? What is your purpose for being on the earth, and step into that, right? Because when you're not living in purpose, when you're not, fulfilling the reason you came here to this planet, then yes, you will feel dull. You will feel empty. Life will lose its luster. So ask the universe, prayer, whatever, meditation, say, hey, why am I here? What is it I'm supposed to be doing? What excites you? Get clear on this, right? I find it very helpful whenever I'm feeling like, a little like out of it, a little like, okay, what should I be doing now? I feel like the things I've been doing aren't working for me. I like to escape to nature, spend some time in nature. This year I've been doing a retreat every solstice, every equinox, doing a little vision quest. But basically I find, get out in nature, ask these questions, talk to universe, to God, whatever that is for you, right? Start asking the questions, like, what will make me fulfilled in life? Guide me to this, and you have to start to follow your intuition. So, for me, doing internal practices, doing meditation, Qigong, helps me to get in the flow, connect with that life force, and I start to get inspiration. I start to get ideas. I start to think, doing this, maybe creating some music will be fun right now, or, creating a video to share with people, whatever. So you have to follow your excitement. You have to get out of this mud of low consciousness vibration that many people are functioning on the earth right now. Get out into nature, get inspired, go to a retreat, go to a meditation retreat, a Qigong retreat, something, right? And do something that completely shifts your patterns, right? To get some clarity. So hopefully that's helpful. All about feeling good says, I've been practicing your work and it's slowly working, which is awesome. It's good, brother. Yeah, keep it up. Keep doing the practice every day, and it only gets better and better, more powerful. Okay, Warren Neil Pillay, I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, says, do you need to do the microcosmic orbit if you practice Zhanzhuang? So Zhanzhuang is a form of Qigong. It's a standing meditation practice. Zhanzhuang can cause an opening of the microcosmic orbit naturally, but I do recommend that you focus on the microcosmic orbit separately in a separate practice. I mean, you can also actually incorporate it into the Zhanzhuang practice, but doing Zhanzhuang is not necessarily going to open the orbit for you, or circulate it specifically. So you want to do some specific practice for that, right? That's why I always recommend equal practice in standing practices, moving practices, and sitting stillness practices. Nice Telly. Yeah, that's my new Telecaster guitar. Freaking sweet. I just picked that up a few days ago. I've been wanting a Telly for a while, so it sounds amazing. Okay, Soulful Warrior asking about internal alchemy. How do I work on making the elixir? What methods I'm using? I've studied many, many different Taoist Nadon techniques. Varying effectiveness, I will say. Some are, there's a lot of people are teaching a lot of stuff based on like visualization, which to me has limited effectiveness. Sometimes it feels like things are happening, sometimes not. But I'm practicing a system right now. I think it's a Longman Pai kind of tradition. It's more based on mental awareness in the body, no visualization, just mind within the body. So kind of vague, but mixing the fire and the water in the body, basically fire water alchemy. That's what I'm using in my practice. And then yes, what method do you use to open the channels? Many different methods: qigong, meditation, neigong practices. There's many different methods. I find qigong, internal martial arts, tai chi, xingyi, and meditative practices, they all work for me well for opening the channels. I teach a lot of these I teach these in my courses as well. John Mao says, after I watched your videos, I started to love my urges. They do not need to lead to ejaculation anymore. Thank you. That's a great sharing. And I think this is a very important point here, is like this no fap, kind of trend. There's a lot of people coming into senior intention no fap, and they're like, oh, urges, horrible. You have to overcome your urges. You have to never feel like you're human. You're in a human body. You have biological needs and desires. You're always going to have an urge. There's nothing wrong with it. But the thing is that, do these, impulses and urges, do they lead you to do weird stuff? Do they lead you to sit on Pornhub for 3 hours jerking off? Then okay. So the key here is not to resist an urge, but to develop your mind so that you don't give in to these things. Say, okay, I have this desire to do that, but I'm not going to do it, right? Strengthen your willpower, strengthen your discipline. We have there's kind of this collective thing that where it's like the slightest impulse we have, well, I should just act on that, and, develop your willpower, develop your discipline. And when you get good at, internal practice, open up your energy channels, then you can transform impulses into something more beneficial. Like, oh, I really have this drive to look at porn. Well, maybe I can move this kind of intense energy through my body, circulate it through my orbit, and then put it into creating something cool, put it into some music, put it into a conversation with a friend, whatever, right? So transforming the energy versus trying to suppress it is a completely different thing. How to remove stagnation in the solar plexus. Yeah, solar plexus is all about, it can be very related to the ego, willpower, as I was just talking about. It's really, it's your power point, right? And we often get stuck here when we feel like we're not in our power. Maybe others are manipulating us. We're kind of underneath someone else, things like that. Not really being in your truth, not really being authentic, being stuck in your ego, things like that. So these are kind of some, look at these ideas and say, oh, are these patterns in my life? Is this a theme in my life? Am I kind of, giving my power away to someone else? Am I a slave to someone else's agenda? Or am I not expressing my power in an authentic way? So this is kind of the more, philosophical side of it, more kind of emotional, mental side. But on a physical level, it can also be related to tension in the diaphragm. The diaphragm tends to hold a lot of, traumas in it, blockages in it. So like doing some massage, some physical massage of your diaphragm, doing some breathing exercises to help open that space up can be helpful for clearing this as well. Of course, qigong meditation practices, I always recommend that as well. Okay. Pure Presence says, do you ever get girls that are resentful you don't ejaculate with them? Um, I was with a girl who, I'll say, she really liked it when I ejaculated, and she did her best to pull it out of me, but I was pretty well trained, so it was rare. But yeah, I would never say, I haven't been with anyone who's resentful, because I have certain boundaries and things like that, and I'm clear about communicating, hey, this is my practice, this is what I do, because it gives me more energy to share with you and things like that. So it hasn't been an issue for me, but obviously I'm selective of who I engage with. How do you deal with sexual urges Warren says, how do you deal with sexual urges where you can't focus for hours? Well, you need to move that energy in your body. Work with the microcosmic orbit, work with testicle breathing. You need to transform that energy, move it to a different location, allow some space to build up in the body so that, energy can be expressed a bit differently. Try doing something creative as well. If you're not a creative type of person, start a creative hobby, whether that's, creating art, creating music, whatever. I find that extremely important for personally my sexual cultivation. Wild Naked Man. Hey, what's up, Will? Will says, can you speak to the macrocosmic orbit, which includes the lower limbs? I love the sensation of orgasming into the whole body. Yeah, so macrocosmic orbit includes the leg channels, the heel vessel, leg channels, arm channels, and you can totally move sexual energy through this, right? It's a bit more of an advanced practice, but as you're doing like testicle breathing or power locks or something, sometimes I'll include the leg. Actually, I almost always work with the leg channels, but the arm channels as well. So what I like to do is sometimes I'll, breathe up from the earth into the genitals and then exhale down from the genitals back down to the earth. So it's almost like you're, sharing your sexual energy to the earth, sharing it with the earth, right? So breathing up and down from that. And also earth up into testicles, up into the orbit, through the arms, whatever, right? They're technique-wise, that's how you can work with it. But yeah, for me, the leg channels are extremely grounding, which is essential for sexual energy cultivation. And the arm channels, you can, share that energy with, yourself, bring your hands around your body or put your hands on your partner. So you connect, wire the sexual center, to certain channels in the torso through the arms into your partner. If you focus on the Daling point, which is this, inside the wrist here, this is a mega power point. It's basically like the amplify button for your chi movement. If you focus here during practices, it'll amplify the flow of chi through the arms. It'll help activate those arm channels. So you can work with that as well. So hopefully that's a sufficient answer to your question. What method? Okay, Soulful Warrior says, what methods do you use to balance your chi after a session of absorbing it from the environment? Usually like just sinking into my Dantian, just allowing everything to sink and settle. A little sitting practice, just sinking down to the Dantian. Certain grounding techniques, purging. I use 6 healing sounds practice if I feel like I have excess energy, just kind of purge some of the edge off. So there's some different practices I use to balance things. Okay, Gucci Knights says, it's really difficult to use semen retention with my partner when I'm about to get to the climax. I can't help but ejaculate and my partner does not get satisfied. I don't know how to find the balance. So this comes down to training. If you're doing semen retention, then you must, especially if you want to have non-ejaculatory sex, you must learn to open up energy channels in the body, create another pathway for the energy to move in, because if there's nowhere else for it to move, there's only so much energy you can hold in your genitals. It's going to blow, right? So working, again, this is what my 12-week course is all about, is how to do this in a proper way. But basically, doing some qigong practices to open things up in your body. Learn to meditate, learn to keep your mind and your body calm, focusing on your breath and moving that arousal out of your genitals throughout the body, keeping your pelvic floor relaxed. These are some important aspects of lasting longer in sex and being able to have non-ejaculatory sex. Okay, Sean says, when doing the 6 healing sounds, I find it hard to visualize. I get frustrated because I don't know what to visualize. For example, when doing lung sounds and exhaling something like depression, do I visualize the word, the image of me being depressed, something that makes me depressed or something depressing? Okay, so this is a practice I teach in my course. Don't overthink it. It's about feeling your body. So it's as simple as you breathe into the lungs. If you want to clear depression from the lungs, then just, if you have depression or sadness in your body because you think about that quality and it starts to bring the feeling up, then you feel the feeling, allow yourself to feel it, and just simply as you're doing the sound and exhaling, you intend that it's leaving your body and just like feel like you're breathing out a cloud of smoke. So you don't need to overthink it. If nothing else, just breathe into the lungs, white light, exhale like a cloud of smoke, just intending that any sadness or depression patterns leave your body. It's, you don't need to overthink it. It's quite simple. Old Days says, how to cure premature ejaculation. Okay, so obviously, this is something that I talk about a lot. Basically, okay, I'll go into the main cause of premature ejaculation. The main cause of premature ejaculation is hypertension. Too much tension in the body, specifically in the pelvic floor, and also too much tension in the mind. And these things are completely interrelated, mind and body. Basically, it's like, when you're already tense, you're already in that fight or flight state, that sympathetic nervous system activation, then adding more sexual tension, it's going to push you right over the edge. So because ejaculation is a function of that fight or flight state, of course, if you're, stressed out, not getting enough sleep, you're in anxiety, your body's locked down with tension, your mind's tense. As soon as you have sex, you're going to ejaculate because you're right on the edge already. So releasing these stress patterns from the mind and body is the most important thing in overcoming premature ejaculation. And also releasing patterns of hypertension from the pelvic floor. Notice when your penis is stimulated, do you contract your pelvic floor in response? This is a hypertension pattern. This triggers ejaculation very easily. So practice sexually stimulating while keeping the pelvic floor relaxed, and taking really deep, slow belly breaths helps this. To take my free ejaculation control course, there's a link in this YouTube video. There's a link in the description. There's a link in my Instagram bio. So that will help you get started with this. How do you build your foundation for internal alchemy? Well, you start with building the Dantian. You need a space to, have the cauldron established. For me, preparing the body, opening up the energy channels of the body, some basic Neigong practices to develop the skill, working with Qi, grounding practices, Zhan Zhuan. There's a lot of different tools I use, but basically, cultivate the Dantian, build that mind-body connection, learn to still and sync the breath low in the body, things like that. Three Eyelids says, can you break away from soul ties from sex? So I think you're talking about like how, you bond pretty deeply to someone when you have sex with them. And can you break this bond? Call it a soul tie, whatever you want. It's not always something you can do right away. I'm not sure, honestly, if you ever do completely break these ties, because again, sex is a deeply bonding experience. And really, we're all connected on much deeper level than we realize. The whole quantum entanglement thing, right? We're all connected, directly. So this kind of an abstract question, we could say in some sense, but overall, you can reestablish boundaries. You can reestablish energetic flows in your body. You probably never be completely disconnected from someone once you connect to them, right? But you can, manage your own energetic boundaries, change the dynamic of your sexual energy and how it interacts, so it's no longer flowing to that person, things like that. And this is something that will take time and practice. But the best thing is to, be very selective about who you exchange your sexual energy with in the first place. Okay, John Doe says, I find it extremely hard not to ejaculate. Does your course teach you how to internalize the orgasm energy without ejaculation? Yes, this is a major focus of my course, is how to separate orgasm from ejaculation, how to bring that energy that's building up the genitals, give it another outlet to be dissipated and release the pressure instead of ejaculating out of the body. Okay, Warren says, what are my top 3 life-changing practices? I would say Qigong, meditation. What else? One more. I mean, there's a lot that I do. I don't know. I could say breath work. I could say reading, learning, studying, growing. I don't know. Self-development, right? Okay, Francisco says how to intensify the sexual energy. I circulate it, but I can't have a full body orgasm. So this is pretty normal at first. You're aroused, you're circulating the sexual energy, but you're like, well, where's the orgasm? Where's the orgasm? Definitely watch my video on the valley orgasm. It's important to understand that this the experience of releasing the sexual energy upwards in the body as it's building up instead of having an ejaculatory orgasm, it's very different in the beginning, because when you think about it, what you're doing is expanding and stretching out the orgasm instead of, because a genital orgasm, an ejaculatory orgasm for a man, it's this very concentrated intensity. It's 5 to 10 seconds of all this energy packed into your genitals shooting out, which is very pleasurable, but then it's gone and you feel a bit deflated afterwards, right? So when you start to draw it through the body upwards and throughout the body, it's a bit more dispersed. It's a bit more diluted, right? And as you're gaining sensitivity, you're saying, oh, well, it doesn't, I'm not having this huge mind-blowing orgasm, so I'm not orgasming. So first of all, what I always say is redefine orgasm simply as a pleasurable sensation of any sort of pleasurable sensation in the body that's outside the normal experience, right? And then you can only build from there. So understand that the full body orgasm state is going to be very subtle in the beginning, and it requires, that you open up a bit more, keep cultivating your sexual energy to, so it really builds up to this maximum point. It's going to be much more intensified when you're with the partner as well. So, but keep practicing, keep working with it, and kind of, don't look for an ejaculatory type of orgasm, because it's going to be very different in the beginning. Fruit Tits, is that your name? It says, does grounding balance sexual energy or increase? Does it balance it or increase it? I think is the question. Grounding is essential for anyone on the planet right now. Grounding is essential, first of all, but especially, for men cultivating sexual energy. I mean, anyone working with sexual energy, grounding is essential, because when you're building more energy in the body, it's essential that you're grounded. It's like having a super high voltage system without a grounding cable. It's dangerous, right? Same thing with your body. You're going to lose that charge a lot easier. So grounding helps you kind of, when you mix the section, what I teach in my course is how you mix the sexual energy in your body, wire it to the earth's energy, so that you mix the earth's chi with your sexual energy. It slows down that vibration, makes it much more digestible, makes you more able to have, a more orgasmic experience. So grounding is essential. And it's also going to boost your sexual energy as well, because when you're grounded, it really nourishes your gene, your kidney essence, which in Chinese medicine, the kidneys are the batteries of the body, responsible for our sexual vitality. So grounding, the kidneys need grounding. And so that will really improve your sexual vitality. Warren says, do you ever feel tired these days or unhappy? I mean, I definitely have my, I have my moments here and there, but overall, my energy levels are pretty high. I have more energy now than I did when I was 18 years old. And happy, I'm a pretty happy person. Because I choose to focus on that which inspires me, that which excites me. We live in this world where anything's possible. Right now, you could be, super afraid, terrified of the future, sitting in your bedroom, anxiety, locking yourself from the world, and you can support yourself. You can always find information to support that and feel justified in feeling that way. On the other hand, you can focus on things that are exciting, inspiring, get super excited and happy to be on the planet right now. And you can find information that supports that. So happiness is a choice and something that you must practice. I'm not sure how to say it. Mirka? I'm not sure how to say your name. Is it okay to masturbate with erotic audio? I would say it's definitely better than, watching videos and images, because there's something about that visual stimulation that's, tends to draw energy out of our bodies. Whereas listening is a bit different. There's a tendency to be more receptive when you're listening. So overall, I would say that like erotic audio is much better than looking at porn. But it's still kind of this false stimulation that can be still a bit overstimulating and can kind of cause some weird, you know, wiring with your arousal response, we could say. So, I would say it's a step down from porn, and maybe a good way to, slowly wean yourself off porn if you're trying to do that. But overall, I would say it's better not to than to. But again, this is a personal choice. If you enjoy it, if you feel good and balanced doing that, then that's fine. But me personally, I found it a lot easier to work with and control my sexual energy when I wasn't being stimulated by these external, images and things like that. Okay, Hobbit Yahoo. Is there a way to strengthen the prostate gland? Mine seems to have become weak. I used to ejaculate a relatively long distance, but lately it just kind of pours out rather than shoots. Strengthen your pelvic floor muscles. So do Kegel exercises, right? Where you squeeze the pelvic floor, and that will improve because that's basically the muscle that's spasming involuntarily, which shoots out your semen, right? So do Kegels, and that will strengthen that response. But make sure you do reverse Kegels as well, so you don't develop hypertension and, premature ejaculation. I've got YouTube videos on how to do Kegels properly. Sean says, if you can have full body dry orgasms, what's the point of having ejaculation? How long would you advise to retain before it becomes unhealthy? That's a good question. If you can have full body orgasms, why would you ever ejaculate? I would say that ejaculation does serve a certain function. It has kind of this clearing effect on the body. And so sometimes when you go really long periods of semen retention, you get overheated. You just have too much energy, more than your body can digest, and it can make you a bit weird, right? Like my partner, sometimes I start to drive her a bit crazy when I'm, 4, 5, 6 weeks in. And so she encourages me to ejaculate at this point. Also, it can kind of reset the endocrine system. Like a lot of men have found, myself included, that going for longer retention periods, like 2 months and beyond, hormones actually start to lower, vitality starts to lower, libido lowers. And so ejaculating can kind of reset the endocrine gland, it seems like. So for me, there's kind of a sweet spot of retaining and then kind of cyclically releasing. For me, it's about 4 to 6 weeks, makes me feel the best overall. So that's my own personal practice, but do what makes you feel best for you. Obviously, this, again, this is your own unique relationship with your sexual energy, your relationship with ejaculating or not ejaculating. This is something you create for yourself. Is premature ejaculation considered on the first round because I'm able to hold, or even don't ejaculate on the second round? I'm not exactly sure what you mean. Do you mean like you ejaculate once and then you can have sex again and you'll last longer? If that's what you mean, then this is kind of a common thing where men, you ejaculate and then your sensitivities dramatically increase because, your sexual energy is decreased as well. So you can actually have sex for much longer. So this is, a common thing, but you can also train to overcome that, initial need to ejaculate, if that makes sense. Antonio says, how can you tell you have successfully spread the sexual charge throughout the whole body? Like I feel all that charge going to my brain and down, then feeling relaxed and loosening the erection. I mean, for me, there's a feeling like when I'm moving it to the microcosmic orbit, when I'm moving the sexual energy to the glands, to the organs, I feel this kind of subtle, well, sometimes more than subtle, it's very powerful kind of vibration, this kind of pulsation type feeling. But this is something you'll become more sensitive to as you practice over time. But in general, you've successfully moved it out of your genitals because your arousal's decreased. There's not so much pressure in the genitals now, and your erection will subside, as you said. Black Bear says, why does it feel good to urinate sometimes? I mean, it's releasing of a tension, it's releasing of a pressure in your body. So that's why, it's a natural thing, I guess. Okay, Sean says, it sounds bad, but I feel like I can't enjoy my life without weed. What is your advice for being able to enjoy life again sober, where I can have fun and feel satisfied again like a child? Yeah. You need something that gets you high naturally, right? For me, it's doing qigong, it's doing breath work, and opening up the body, opening up the flow. But that's the whole thing. Why were we so excited, joyful, creative, and playful when we were children, right? Because we were purely in the moment. We didn't have all this, oh, I have to be this person, I have to act this way around this person. No, we didn't think about all that bullshit. We're in the moment, creating entire worlds, universes. So opening yourself up, back up to that state of flow, right, is a beautiful thing to do. And this is where the energy work comes in, because part of this is that, when we're children, our energy channels are wide open. We're unconditioned, we're flexible. And as we start to experience traumas and condition, we get conditioned, we spend 40 hours a week in prisons that they call schools, learning how to regurgitate information. We become pretty stiff and rigid. Things start to close down. So doing internal energy work, qigong, meditation, yoga helps you to open things back up and get into a flow again. And you also ask, what are the real world benefits? Oh, something else I want to say first is that one of the most powerful practices, which I teach in the course, it's one of the most popular practices in the course, called transformational breath work. This is a powerful practice that gets you super high without just on your breath. It's fantastic. You get into kind of a psychedelic state. It blows everyone's mind. It's fantastic. So I teach that in the course as well. Okay, then asking, what are the real world benefits of all the breathing exercises and qigong practices in the course? More energy, better mental clarity, more confidence, better health, better sexual libido, the ability to stay centered and balanced in a chaotic world, less stress, just unlimited benefits, like massive benefits. Okay, Warren Billy says, Warren Neal, what's the best practice for healing deep trauma? There's different practices that will be different. It will work better for different people. Again, there's a lot I teach in the course. Transformational breathwork, as I just mentioned, is a fantastic one for clearing traumatic patterns from the mind and body. But if it's something really, really serious, something really, really deep, it can be good to get external help, like a therapist, a healer, someone who does, healing modalities, Reiki, energy medicine, things like that. That can be helpful as well. Black Bear says, can we get a part 2 of your spiritual awakening video? Definitely. It'll be coming, brother. Tom A. Slade. I'm not sure I'm saying that right. He says, in using sexual kung fu to manifest a relationship, I know she likes me. Do I perform it one time, more than one time, to encourage the like to grow to love? Yeah, I mean, if you're doing a manifestation practice, then yeah, you want to do it every day. Do it consistently. If you just do it once, results may be limited. But when you do it every day, the universe says, "Wow, this guy's serious. All right, we're gonna draw this in, right?" So yeah, keep doing it. Keep doing it. Black Bear, did you feel accomplished when you began to understand how to control your orgasms? Definitely. I mean, this was a huge, breakthrough for me. Like, wow, I can actually learn to control ejaculation, because I didn't last very long in the past, right? I was a quick shooter, we could say. It used to be like, wow, 10 minutes was like a marathon, right? And then when I started practicing sexual kung fu, it's like, wow, it's actually not that hard to control ejaculation. You just got to train, you just got to do the work, right? And that, for me, developed a lot of confidence and made me think like, wow, what else in my life can I master if I am able to do this? So yeah, definitely. How to recover after ejaculation? Rest. It just takes time, but testicle massage, super important. That will improve your semen production. Taking some semen promoting supplements and herbs. So some of my favorite foods after ejaculating are black sesame seeds, pumpkin seeds, goji berries, maca root, bee pollen, things like this, right? Take some zinc, magnesium, boron, selenium. Eat some Brazil nuts. They're super rich in selenium, and that'll help you, replenish that. But it's really just a matter of time of allowing the body to regenerate the semen. There's also, you can look up foods that prevent, foods that lower prolactin levels in the body, because this is uh, uh, a major reason why you feel wiped out after an ejaculation is the body secretes a hormone called prolactin. So if you can reduce the level of prolactin in the body, you're not going to feel quite so hungover, we could say, after an ejaculation. Something I've found personally. Why are orgasms important, or what's the point of them? Orgasms create life. We were created by orgasm. Our parents had an orgasm and then we were born, right? So it's a process of the universe. It's not just this, raw physical, sexual, dirty act. There's spiritual orgasms, there's emotional orgasms. Like, orgasm is, I forget who said it. Someone said that orgasm is the center of the universe. I think it was Wilhelm Reich. I could be wrong, but yeah, again, orgasm is the center of the universe. But let's expand our minds a bit on what an orgasm is. When you're listening to music that just makes you feel like, that's an orgasm. You could call that an orgasm. When you're eating a really delicious meal that's like healthy, organic, makes you just feel awesome. Like, you could say you're having a mild orgasm, right? So when we start to, expand our definition of orgasm, then we see where we connect in it in different areas of our life. And then we can improve that. We can have more orgasms, then life becomes a lot more enjoyable. 3-in-1 Coach says, hey, Johnathan, this material is awesome. Your necklace is really cool. Is it Egyptian? The pendant looks familiar to a jed pillar, which was an energy conductor. Yeah, this is from Arcturus Raw. It's the Raw key, which is based on the jed pillar. As you can see, I've got a couple of other ones as well. But yeah, Egyptian tech. Okay, Vegeta. He says, how to stop PMO thoughts. So thoughts of watching porn and masturbating when on retention. I often experience when going on a long streak, I get flashbacks and urges to masturbate to porn, and 5 out of 10 times I lose control. So this is all about putting that energy into something else, creating new momentum in your life. If you're going to practice retention, if you're going to stop something, you need to put something else in its place. So obviously, new habits. Instead of watching porn, okay, every time I have an urge to watch porn, I'm going to go to the gym, work out, or I'm going to, go sprinting outside or something like that. But more importantly is working with the energy flow of your body, because again, an issue that men run into is that they practice retention and they're not doing anything with their sexual energy, just building up in their balls. Yeah, that's going to drive you to have sexual thoughts, which, there's nothing wrong with having sexual thoughts. But if you don't want to be masturbating and ejaculating every day, then you need to be able to redirect that sexual energy in the body. So practicing with the microcosmic orbit, testicle breathing, drawing that sexual energy upwards in your body, giving it a new outlet. And, maybe you're desiring sexual pleasure. Are you suppressing sexual pleasure in your life? That's going to cause, some issues eventually. So learning to have non-ejaculatory sexual experience, because that's what you're probably really craving, is that orgasmic experience. So can you do that in a holistic way that does not end with ejaculation, where you actually benefit from it, right? This is what sexual kung fu is really about. Seven Sins says, are you going to teach how to delay or prevent premature ejaculation in your course? Yes, that's a huge focus of Multi-Orgasmic Man, my online course, is how to overcome premature ejaculation and last for hours in bed. Okay, Stephen Talbot says, do you recommend drinking your own semen? Will that replenish what you lose, or is there more to it? One of my teachers was all about this. He's like, yeah, if you ejaculate, eat it, right? And so, if this vibes for you, that's fine. I mean, theoretically, yes, you will replenish the minerals and, the things that you ejaculated out. But the thing is that you still have to regenerate the semen. So the issue isn't necessarily losing minerals and vitamins, because you can just replenish them with diet. The thing is that your body, it simply takes time for your body to recreate more semen. And so if you're ejaculating every day and still eating it, then you're still having to go through the process of, the body prioritizing semen production, shutting down the androgen receptors and things like that. So you're still going to feel drained, right? But on a level of like nutrient intake, sure, you'll regain some of it. Does transformational breathwork move your sexual energy throughout your body? I find that it does. I have straight up full body orgasms when I do that practice. And you can also kind of guide the energy as well. But yeah, it seems to move that sexual energy through your body. Okay, here's a good question. Sadbros.org. I'm going semi-limp while I'm making love. Why? So not being able to hold an erection. There's many factors to this. Erection quality with men. It can be, first of all, if it's a physical problem, lack of blood flow, you're eating unhealthy, your arteries are clogged up, your circulation's poor, you're stressed out, your energy's low, things like that. That's kind of the physical issues, right? But if it's not that, then it may be more, dopamine imbalances in the brain and body. Like if you always watched porn, this causes some serious dysfunctions in your arousal response, basically, in that you require high levels of stimulation constantly to hold arousal. Or else when you go to have sex with a real person, it's exciting for a little bit, but then, you kind of have this sexual ADD where it's no longer as exciting. You lose your erection. So that can be part of it, right? There's a lot of factors to this, but what I recommend if you're not happy with your erections is looking at how much time you spend on social media, playing video games, do you watch porn? These things are going to affect, your dopamine levels and affect your arousal response. But on a purely physical level, doing exercises to increase the blood circulation through your penis will be extremely beneficial for your erection. So doing cardio is helpful, eating clean, having a good diet, getting all your minerals. And I recommend a practice called Angion method, Angion. This is a training method to develop the blood vessels in your penis and improve your erections. Cupid's Poison Arrow. Yeah, it's a good book. There's a lot of interesting points in that book. I can't say it was like a life changer or anything for me, but it was an interesting book. Okay, Simon Smith says, significance of losing semen versus sexual energy. Recently, I ejaculated, and shortly after I made love with intense energy circulation, seemed to have completely reversed the energy loss I normally feel. Yeah, here's the thing. Sex generates energy. Sex generates hormones. And so actually, if you have ejaculated, one of the best things you can do to kind of charge back up is to have sex, non-ejaculatory. And because it gets the endocrine system going, sex really amps up the endocrine system, releases all these hormones. So yeah, and there's much more, here's the thing is when you get to the higher levels of sexual kung fu, ejaculation is actually not really an issue, because when you're doing practice to draw energy out of the semen, exchange it with your partner, you kind of ejaculate out an empty shell. So it eventually goes a bit beyond just not ejaculating or ejaculating, right? And you start to develop skill of managing the sexual energy itself, which can be extracted, from the semen. Will I be taking more psychedelics in my life? No plans on it right now, but who knows what the future holds. I want to try ayahuasca at one point in my life. I've never done it. I don't feel drawn to right now. I'm having enough of an initiation in my life, right? I will say that, but it's not something I'm interested in right now, but maybe in the future, who knows? I'm not necessarily trying to grow out my beard. I just haven't shaved. Pre-cum is not a relapse. If you're aroused, your penis is going to secrete the Cowper's fluid, which is the clear fluid. It's not an issue. It's like blowing your nose. Like that's, it's that much of an energy loss. It's not a big deal. Okay, Simon Smith says, your views and experience with the effects of clitoral and G-spot orgasm in women, energy loss, mood swings, etc. Seems the case. Okay. Yeah, there's a difference between, women have different types of orgasms, as men do as well. So for the clitoral orgasm for women, it's a peak orgasm. It's very similar to the ejaculatory orgasm for men, but they don't lose nearly as much energy because they're not losing, fluid, the semen energy that we lose, right? It's menstruation that women tend to lose their Jing in. But but the clitoral orgasm for them can be a bit tiring, right? Versus the more internal orgasms, G-spot orgasms, A-spot orgasms, these often like powerfully awaken women's sexual energy and like can be very, very deeply healing and energizing for them, right? That's been, my experience in seeing this. But yes, their second question was practices around energy circulation relevant for females as well. Yes, females can do energy, sexual energy circulation practices. They can breathe into the ovaries, and much as we use our semen energy, they can breathe into their ovaries and move that energy through their bodies. And also, breast massage, working with the breast, is important for women as well. Can a solid streak and practice of retention and qigong cure unwanted fetishes? Potentially. Just practicing retention, is probably only going to boost your sexual energy and thoughts. So balancing that energy with other things, qigong will help. I think what would be the most helpful is having, more of a heart-based approach in relationships. Having a heart-based relationship with someone, because these weird fetishes and kinks and like sexual obsessions, they're coming from our lower centers in our body. Sometimes they're involved with like traumas or like the first exposure we had to sex and things like that. But I'm not saying there's anything wrong with these things, but if it's something that concerns you, then typically having a more heart-based connection with someone, then you release some of these obsessive kind of physical sexual obsessions, and you become more heart-centric, where simply connecting with a human being becomes fulfilling. Okay, guys, I don't have a lot of time left, and there's a lot of questions. I'm just going to kind of skip through some questions and pick the most appropriate ones, I guess. Okay, Captain Guy says, the chi in my area isn't great. Is there a way I can create a protection around me that filters just non-helpful chi so I can only absorb beneficial chi as I'm cultivating? If so, how? Feng Shui is very important. Feng Shuiing your house as best you can. You can do your own research on this. I'm not a Feng Shui expert, but I know a little bit about it, right? So this is important, but also creating energetic grids around your house. I like to use crystals. I've got a pretty sweet Arkansas quartz here I got from Sedona. I make crystal grids. So, create a geometric grid of crystals around your house, at least 4, right? 1 in each corner, and just program them with your intention of, okay, only love in, only love out, filter out all the bullshit. Don't let it in here. Something else you can do is get a big crystal, a big, nice, clear, quick crystal, like a quartz, like a smoky quartz, and just kind of see the crystal expanding around your whole house, encompassing a boundary around your house, and just intend that any negative energy projected, the crystal absorbs and transmutes, or you can, wash it every now and then to clear it out. So that's helpful. Also, orgonite is amazing. I'll show this again. Here's an orgonite pyramid I made. You can buy these online though. Specifically, orgonite filter out some of the lower vibrations. They filter EMF, they absorb EMF and dissipate it. So things like that. And those can be some helpful support for your state of your home. But also with your mind, you can create, set up grids around your house, energetic grids. Working with the energy of your house is a bit more Jedi skills, right? But clearing your house with your intention, clearing it with your energy, filling it up with chi and things like that is helpful. Another thing is, like, if you're living in a really toxic area, sometimes it's good just to move. Okay, advice. Lucia says advice for resuming in sexual life after several years. I feel I'm finally ready, but I'm a bit nervous about restarting it as I am emotionally invested with this girl. Well, uh, holding your center, right? Not being excessively needy. Like, oh, I met this person, they're amazing, I need them. I'm like, oh, putting everything into them. Hold your center. Say, okay, I'm sharing my energy with this person, but if it doesn't work out, that's fine because I am whole and complete within my being. I don't know, just being able to manage your energy throughout it, right? Holding your boundaries, holding your ground within yourself, it's kind of general, but and of course, managing your sexual energy as well, developing the skills and controlling your ejaculation and becoming non-ejaculatory, being able to have non-ejaculatory orgasms before you engage in sex. Oh, I'm about to lose my Instagram feed. I'll pop it back up here in a second. Just a second, guys. All right. So Larry says, does edging boost or decrease the drive to approach females? Well, I think you should experiment and see what it does for you, right? But for me personally, again, when I'm experiencing sexual arousal and sexual pleasure, I feel much more charged up. I feel much more because when you arouse your sexual energy and work with it in that way, you're increasing the polarity of your energy. Aroused sexual energy it's very polarized, right? It's very, as a man, your aroused sexual energy, it's very yang, it's very fiery, it's very masculine. So that may, you can use that arousal, circulate in the body and put that into drive to, be more attractive to people. Captain Commando says, for the mental awareness, it's like mind-body awareness, right? When you focus on a body part and contract it, it's more energetic sense of it comes to the chi high when feeling heat in Dantian. I'm not exactly what you mean, but like for this practice you're talking about, it's not visualization. It's feeling the mind within the body, and that's what you're feeling. What should you masturbate to when on this journey of semen retention? Are girls on Instagram okay, or should I just use nothing and cultivate self-love? I don't recommend you use external images, things like that. It's going to program you to require those for arousal. And also, here's something super important that I'm becoming very aware of. Working with the energy of lust. I'm actually making a video on this. Working with the energy of lust will almost always drive you to ejaculate. It's difficult to have non-ejaculatory orgasms when you're focused on sexual images and things like that, right? Like it's okay in the beginning to first get aroused with, a bit of sexual thoughts, whatever. But when you're, already aroused, you want to simply focus on what you're feeling in your body. Focus on the quality of love and expansion that opens your heart, expands your energy field, and you'll get into much better. It'll be much easier to experience the valley orgasm, full body orgasm, instead of just this, need to ejaculate, which lust will always cause, right? When's the last time I was sick or ill? Well, I was, I think it'd been like 3 years until I was, let's say that again. It had been about 3 years. I went without having anything, no colds, no getting sick, whatever. I actually had COVID last year in, was it December? That knocked me down for, I don't know, 2-3 days, and then I was fine. So that's the last time I was sick. So it takes a lot to make me sick, right? But overall, to keep healthy, never really need a doctor. Manage your stress, eat healthy, stay away from EMF. One of the biggest factors on people's immune systems right now is EMF exposure, stress, lack of sleep, and also lack of nature time. People isolating themselves in their houses, ironically, is wrecking their immune systems. You don't get the sunlight, vitamin D, fresh air, essential for your immune system. Getting all your nutrients, getting your vitamin D, your vitamin C, your minerals, zinc, right? These are all important for your immune system. Keeping your energy, cultivating your energy, cultivating chi. What do I know about the history of Taoism and yin and yang? Well, I've been studying this stuff for 7 years, so I know a little bit about it, but I'm not going to give a lecture on the history of Taoism right now. If there's a specific aspect of it you're curious about. Okay, so just a few more questions here. I see this question. Prostate orgasms healthy or not? Prostate orgasms are very healthy. First of all, stimulating the prostate is extremely important because, prostate's neglected for most men, and 50% of men have prostate issues. Prostate cancer and things like that are extremely common. So loving your prostate, massaging it, whatever, is extremely good for your health. I know this makes a lot of men homophobic and kind of tighten up just thinking about it, but it's one of the most beneficial things you can do. When you release any, blocks around that, it actually really liberates your sexuality. Working with the prostate orgasms, I had, a prostate orgasm. It was one of the most intense experiences I had in my life in a very beneficial way, right? So yeah, it's great. What's EMF? EMF is electromagnetic frequency radiation coming from electronic devices, right? You can look this up, but this is one of the biggest hazards on human health on the planet right now is EMF radiation exposure. Okay, so Sean, getting frustrated with testicle breathing. I feel like I'm not doing it right. It isn't relaxing. When inhaling, my head and body shake, and my heart beats fast, even though my breath is slow. My anus gets tired and feels uncomfortable. I can't feel the energy moving up. Okay, so you may be having too much mental force, too much physical force. Testicle breathing is a very subtle practice. You're simply breathing, and guiding the energy with your mind. But I recommend you start with something else. Start with the Dantian breathing practice. Look up Dantian breathing on my YouTube channel. This will be a foundation for creating a energetic container, which the Dantian is. You'll start to feel that tangibly, and it'll start to boost your chi, and then it'll make other practices you do much more powerful. So it's a good starting point. Okay, how do you decrease EMF in the home? As I was talking about, gridding your house with crystals, but there's a lot of stones that, this is shungite, black shungite from Russia. This absorbs EMF. There was a study, they put a big chunk of shungite by a television, and it reduced the EMF output by I think 85% or 90%. So shungite's amazing. Keep this around your home. Orgonite as well. Put it, get one for your internet router, all of your devices, keep the stuff around your house and be very beneficial. I sleep in a copper pyramid with an orgonite capstone, which is pretty awesome. Puts a nice electromagnetic field for me to sleep in. Pyramids. I want to say, there's been some very interesting research that the Russians did on pyramids. They found that just being in the shape of a pyramid, it has a very healing effect on the body. They had I believe there was a a child that was born very, very prematurely and they thought it was going to die. They put some water in a pyramid, charged up the water in the pyramid, that they gave it to this child, and it lived, right? So pyramids are very healing. Just a little thing I'm throwing out there. All right, guys, I'm going to jump off. Thanks everyone for joining. Hope you guys have a great weekend, great rest of your week. And if you're new, get my free ejaculation control course. There's a link in this video. There's a link in my Instagram bio. And I don't know, take care, guys. I will see you next time, same time next week. Take it easy.